My name is Emily. I am turning 36 years old. Currently, I work from home, so I spend most of my day in my room. I had a younger brother named John. He got married and moved out 2 years ago. Since then, it's been a peaceful life with just me and my parents. However, something unexpected happened 3 months ago. Suddenly, John and his wife came over and said,
"We want to live here with you."
My parents have always adored the cheerful and sociable John, so they happily accepted this proposal. They immediately started preparing for the move, and by the next week, they had moved in. As for me, since I could work from my room, there was no particular problem. Even after John and his wife moved in, I continued to focus on my work in my room as usual. However, living together, I started to feel a gradual change in their attitude towards me. At first, they wouldn't respond to my greetings or ignore me when I spoke, making me wonder, didn't they hear me? But gradually, the atmosphere became unnaturally tense. I was a bit concerned about their attitude, but an incident at dinner one day revealed their true feelings. As usual, when it was dinner time, I went downstairs and found that the other 4 had already started eating. "Oh, have you started eating? Did you call me? Sorry, I might not have noticed." Nobody responded at first, and they just continued eating in silence. Since no one replied, I reluctantly took a seat to eat, and then my sister-in-law Rose started to speak. "Emily, nobody called you for dinner." I was shocked to hear this and looked back at Rose, but she didn't care about me at all, and the other 3 continued to ignore me and eat. I thought the atmosphere was clearly unnatural and odd, but decided to eat anyway. When I reached for the side dishes on the dining table, I realized that only my portion was missing. "Mom, is my portion of the side dishes in the fridge by any chance?" This was the first time my portion hadn't been prepared. I was surprised and confused. "There are no side dishes for you. We've decided not to prepare your portion from today. Rose and I have discussed and made this decision." "What? From today, I don't have a portion?" I couldn't comprehend this sudden change and looked back at my mother, but she continued to eat without paying any attention to me. Rose, seeing me in a panic and unsure what to do, began to laugh and speak. "Yes, that's right. We thought it's better not to serve meals anymore for you who don't work. Well, today's the first day and it was sudden, so we prepared rice and soup especially for you. But it's only for today. There won't be any from tomorrow." "What? Wait a minute. Why? Why is this happening?" "Don't you understand yet, Emily? You don't do any work and leave all the housework to us. That's why we want you to prepare your own meals. We all 4 agreed."
"That's right, sister. You've always been holed up in your room since I lived here. Always staying in your room, not working, but eating as much as everyone else at mealtime. I've always thought that was strange." As he said this, John stared at me with a hint of anger. I was at a loss for words in the face of this sudden event. When I looked at my father and mother, they were silently continuing their meal, ignoring me. I realized I was in a situation where I had to clear up the misunderstanding myself. You know, maybe I haven't explained properly, but I do work even though I'm mostly in my room during the day. I contribute money to the house every month. "Huh? Sister, don't lie. What kind of work can you do locked up in your room?" "By the way, I've heard the sound of a camera shutter. Are you taking pictures with your phone? Selfies? Are you selling pictures of your own face?" As he said this, John and Rose looked at each other and laughed. My parents, hearing this conversation, also started to laugh. Then my mother, who had been eating in silence, suddenly started talking. "Really? Are you actually earning money by doing that? It's amazing that people would buy pictures of your face." "No, I wouldn't sell pictures of my face. There are so many different kinds of jobs nowadays, and many people work from home, right? John and Rose, you know that, don't you?" "Well, I do hear a lot about remote work, but isn't working at a regular office more lucrative? I don't think remote work pays much. Sister-in-law, it would be better for you to get out into society and earn a proper living." Rose said this with a mocking look. Beside her, John whispered, "That's right, Rose. Well said. Emily, that's why you should prepare your own meals from now on. Mom and Rose are tired of preparing meals for you who do no housework. Now you understand, right?" "John, but
As I was about to argue with John, a loud thud echoed from the table. Surprised, I looked in the direction of the sound, which was made by my father.
Enough. Stop it. This is ruining a good meal. Emily, if you're not going to eat, go back to your room.
With my father's words, the atmosphere in the room turned heavy in an instant. I felt that whatever I said would be in vain, so I decided to obediently return to my room as he suggested. After a while, it sounded like the four of them were happily chatting and eating, as if nothing had happened. Back in my room, I reflected on what John and Rose had said to me. Indeed, I had always prioritized my work, never involving myself in housework or meal preparation, leaving it all to my parents. I realized that John and Rose's words were not entirely wrong and felt a bit of remorse. I had thought my parents understood my work since they never said anything, but at 36, not doing any housework and leaving it all to them might not have been right. I deeply regretted my past actions and vowed to be more proactive in taking care of myself from the next day. I prepared and cooked all 3 meals for myself. I actively helped around the house, cleaning wherever it was dirty and asking my parents and Rose if they needed any assistance. However, no matter how hard I tried, the 4 of them became increasingly cold towards me. I thought I had been doing my best to contribute around the house, but their cold treatment left me confused and unsure of how to respond. One day, when I went to the kitchen to prepare my dinner, Rose was there. We had hardly spoken since the incident. I started to prepare my meal with the ingredients I had bought. Then Rose looked at the ingredients and started talking to me.
"Oh, Emily, you're eating quite a fancy cut of meat. And you're eating it all by yourself, right? It's too expensive for us to afford."
Rose said this in a clearly sarcastic tone, creating a slightly awkward moment. Actually, that day I had just received my work payment. As a treat to myself for working hard, I bought a nicer cut of meat than usual. "Rose, today is like my payday, so I just decided to treat myself to a better cut of meat today. Since it's a special occasion, would you like to join me for dinner?"
"No thanks, I'll pass. After all, you who don't work wouldn't have a payday. Well, you must be trying to pretend, but it's pointless. You must have secretly taken pocket money from my mother-in-law before shopping, right?"
"What? No, Rose, that's not it. Like I explained before, I work from home and earn an income. I bought this meat with my own hard-earned money." As we were arguing, my mother came into the kitchen. I saw this as a good opportunity to clear up the misunderstanding and asked her, "Mom, you know that I work and give you the living expenses every month, right?" "Yes, I have been contributing $1,300 monthly to the household expense since I started working from home. I was hoping my mother would clear up the misunderstanding." But her response was completely different from what I expected.
"Well, yes, I do get money from you every month, but have I seen you working? No, all I see is you fiddling with your smartphone, not working. Besides, unlike John, you always saved your pocket money when you were younger, right? So aren't you using that saved money?"
"What? Mom, that can't be. I'm giving you $1,300 every month. I can't pay that much from my pocket money savings."
"Well, it doesn't matter where you get your money from. If you are in debt, that's your own responsibility. Just don't cause any trouble for your father and me."
My mother said this to me in a cold tone. I was shocked by her unexpected words. Rose was watching me with a smirk on her face.
"Emily, you're not really in debt, are you? It would be terrible if you caused trouble for John and me by being in debt."
"What are you saying? I'm not in debt. Everyone just says whatever they want. I've had enough." Saying that, I roughly put the ingredients I was about to cook back into the fridge and returned to my room without eating anything. Alone, I felt a growing sense of frustration. I never imagined my mother, who lived with me, would see me this way. That night, I fell asleep amidst my anger and frustration. Following this incident, John and his wife, as well as my parents, became colder towards me. They never invited me for dining out or traveling, and the house was often empty, but I tried not to care, thinking they must have gone out somewhere. On the contrary, being alone more often, I started to focus more on my work and hobbies, with nowhere else to be but my room room, I started going out more often for a change of scenery when I hit a dead end in my work. However, my family didn't like this behavior either and started to complain. One day after having dinner outside, I came home and opened the front door to find John and Rose standing there imposingly.
Hey, sister. Living quite the good life, aren't you? Did you go out to eat again? Splurging even though you have no money?
Exactly, Emily. You went out for lunch the other day, right? Unforgivable. We work hard, but you, who don't work, are the only one having fun.
What? Rose, haven't I told you many times I do work from home?
Oh, please, stop pretending. You're just an older, jobless, living off pocket money without working. You have no right to act so high and mighty.
Rose's anger exploded, echoing throughout the entrance. I was taken aback by her intensity, but I couldn't let myself be defeated here. Why do you think I'm getting pocket money? I work for myself and give living expenses to Mom. I've listened to you and Mom, and I've been trying to do as much housework as I can recently. Isn't that enough?
What? You only start doing something after being told, and even then, it's just a little. Get out of the house, you good-for-nothing poor omen. Mom and Dad want you to leave too.
What? Really? Mom and Dad want me to leave?
Huh? Isn't that obvious? Why wouldn't we need someone who just wastes money and does nothing?
Hearing John's words, I managed to regain my composure. That's right, I no longer need to endure being treated this way. I understand, John. If everyone feels that way, I will leave this house.
Really, Emily? That's great. Are you finally leaving this house? Then don't worry about Mom and Dad. We'll take over everything and live here. Honestly, life won't change without you, and it'll be easier for us without your hassle. Oh, please start packing soon.
Sister, you're not going to change your mind tomorrow, right? Don't even think about it. Like Rose said, start packing and leave quickly.
I silently walked past them and returned to my room. I immediately started researching for a new place to move to and began packing my belongings. After being insulted so much, I was eager to leave as soon as possible. Thanks to the smooth arrangements, my move was scheduled for 3 days later. I informed the 4 of them that I would be leaving in 3 days, as my preparations were complete.
So, you're finally leaving, huh? John and Rose said they'd take care of everything, so I'm not worried at all. You've never known hardship, living at home all this time. Now it's time for you to go out into society and experience some struggle. And don't even think about coming back or calling us if things get tough.
Hearing my mother's cold words, I felt more frustration than sadness, and couldn't even cry. My father just stood by her side, saying nothing. I realized that I had foolishly believed that my parents somewhat understood my work and felt embarrassed and pathetic. On the morning of the moving day, John said this.
Sister, we're going out now. By the time we get back, you'll probably have left. Well, take care of yourself. Don't worry about this house. You'll be too busy with your own problems to even think about it.
Yeah, and the room you were using, we're planning to remodel it into a closet. So, even if you think of coming back, your room won't be there anymore. It's impossible for you to come back now. Bye. Take care.
They then left, chatting loudly among themselves. Lately, they would always go out together on their days off. Will they continue living the same way even after I leave? With some anxiety about them, I quietly continued with the moving process, efficiently packing my belongings into the truck, and then headed to my new place to complete the move. 3 months after the move, something happened. Suddenly, I received a call on my smartphone from John.
Hello? Emily, is that you? Hey, you tell me what the hell is going on.
What? Why are you shouting? I thought we agreed you wouldn't contact me anymore. Did you forget?
I meant to stick to that, but I have to ask you. Dad and Mom keep insisting they don't know anything, and I can't figure it out without asking you.
So what happened? Why don't you understand?
Actually, suddenly, we can't use the water and electricity, and there's an issue with the house loan too. We've received notices about unpaid bills, and it's serious. Dad and Mom say they've never been involved in it. Why? How can this be?
Oh, that? Dad and Mom have never paid those bills. They really don't know about it.
What? Then who has been paying all this time? Wait, you? Were you paying for everything?
Exactly. I've been the one making the payments. For the house loan, water, electricity, everything. I managed it all. Oh, and I've transferred all the contracts and made the arrangements. Now everything's in your name, John.
No way, you're lying, right? You don't work, so how could you make those payments every month? And to transfer everything to me, I can't understand it.
John, agitated, raised his voice even more in protest. John, didn't you say you'd take care of Mom and Dad? You're going to be the main provider now, so transferring everything to you makes sense, right? I've explained many times, but you never believed me. I have been working, earning an income. I could do my job with just a smartphone, even from home. The shutter sounds you heard were from photographing products, not selfies. I had to keep my phone close because I managed everything on it. Yes, I was earning income through a popular app. It all started when I first sold some unwanted items. I got hooked on the appeal of this and established a business buying wholesale items and selling them through the app. Sometimes I would make up to $4,000 in sales per month. Moreover, I was sharing this method through videos, so my income from the videos was also steadily increasing. This was how I explained to John the work he never believed I was doing.
That's the kind of job you were doing? But where are the products? They never arrived at the house. Where were you hiding them?
That's because, actually, I rented a room for work purposes. I had a part-time worker handling the receipt and sorting of the products there. That's why the products never arrived at our house.
A rented room for work and even hired help? Emily, when did you start earning so much?
Well, I had to earn that much to give Mom and Dad $1,300 every month, didn't I? It's not an easy amount, you know. Initially, it wasn't that much, but after I gave $1,300 once, it became expected. If I gave less, they would get upset and make a fuss. So I worked hard to give that amount every month. Plus, I was paying for the electricity, water, and the house loan.
Indeed. Paying that much every month must have been tough.
Right? That's why I'm grateful to you guys.
Grateful to us? Why?
Because you said you would take care of Mom and Dad, right? Even with my earnings, giving $1,300 a month was tough for me, and I honestly had given up on saving. Even marriage. But since I left the house 3 months ago, I've been really enjoying my life. Thanks to that, my sales are up, and things are going well. It's a pity that we couldn't resolve our misunderstandings and get along, but living with a family that wouldn't try to understand me was just painful. So, please take care of Mom and Dad. I'm busy now. Goodbye. As I was about to end the call, John hurriedly tried to say something and stopped me.
Hey, wait! Don't just hang up on me.
What? What is it? Did he sense my eagerness to end the conversation quickly?
Actually, Emily, can you reconsider coming back home? It's lonely and inconvenient living alone, especially after living at home for so long. We went too far the other time, and we realize now that we misunderstood you, and you were actually doing things right. So, let's live together again.
John's voice saying these things was softer and more gentle than I had ever heard before. John, sorry. I appreciate your offer, but I have no intention of returning. I'm enjoying my current life. It's fun and easy, and I'm not lonely. What's the real reason you want me back home? What's your true intention?
Emily, you figured it out. To be honest, life's been tough. We used to rely on Mom and Dad's pensions and thought you were being selfish, so we decided to push you out to manage their pensions ourselves. But when we checked, the pensions were just a meager amount, totally insufficient for a family of 4.
John's voice became quieter, barely audible over the phone. But aren't you working, John? Isn't your salary enough for living?
Actually, before moving back home, I borrowed money from loan sharks. The interest is so high, the debt never decreases. All my salary goes to debt repayment now.
Really? So you were relying only on Mom and Dad's pensions when you moved back?
After you left, we asked them, and they said they had no money, and they kept asking for $1,300 a month. It's impossible. We're the ones needing money.
I do feel sorry for you, but isn't that self-inflicted? There's no other way but for Mom and Dad to manage their pensions without luxury, right? Sorry, but I'm not planning to return to the family home.
Emily, don't be so cold. You're earning, so you must have money, right? Then could you at least send some? Even just for the house loan? Please, Emily.
John's voice, almost breaking into tears, trembled over the phone. I did feel pity, but my family had never tried to understand my work, no matter how much I explained. If I showed kindness and took over the payments now, it would become the new normal and likely escalate. Hey, isn't Rose not working right now? Then she should get a job and help out. After all the bragging and belittling me, she should be able to earn more than me, right? Is that all? I'm really busy right now. Goodbye. I ended the call with that. That night, Rose called my smartphone, but I deliberately chose not to answer. Shortly after, a message from Rose arrived.
Emily, I'm truly sorry for everything. I want to apologize for my previous behavior and promise to change. I'll become a good sister-in-law. Please, would you come back home?
Rose claimed to be remorseful, but frankly, I could easily imagine being used conveniently if I returned home, so I didn't respond to her message.
Emily, you're reading my messages, right? Why are you ignoring me? If it's hard for you to come back home, please hire me as a part-time worker at your workplace. The job is easy, right? Please fire the current part-time worker and hire me instead. I'm begging you. Please, Emily, at least call me back.
I received this aggressive message from Rose on my answering machine, which was almost frightening. But I find it difficult to repair my relationship with my family, so I made the decision to cut off contact and block all messages. Sometime later, according to neighborhood gossip, Rose tried to sell unnecessary items like I did, but ended up selling things belonging to our parents without permission, leading to a huge fight. The family relationship rapidly deteriorated, and their quarreling voices could be heard throughout the neighborhood almost daily. On the other hand, since leaving my family home, my life has been fulfilling. I laugh more than when I was at home and enjoy every day. Recently, I attended a party at a friend's invitation and met someone wonderful. We've started dating and are even considering marriage. My business is thriving, and I enjoy working while thinking of the joy it brings to my customers. I plan to continue building such a fulfilling life.